Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2022 commencement ceremony here at Georgetown Preparatory School. My name is Joe Harkins. I'm the residential dean here at Prep. I'm joined this morning once again by my colleague, Dak Tirado.
Good morning, Joe. Dak Tirado, member of the Social Studies Department and Director of Intercultural Diversity. It's great to be out here today. It's palpable to feel the energy.
Absolutely.
Families, former students, and our graduates of 2022. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our, as we said, this is our third year of doing this live stream. Started a couple of years ago where we were set up in the Chapel of Our Lady. The reviews were so high, the demand to come back once again, the fan mail's piling up, so here we are once again out on the chapel field, and just like you said, Dak, being out here with the people, it's really amazing. Being able to see everyone, feel the energy, it's really a cool ceremony.
I do miss the AC, but there's nowhere I'd rather be than out here. You can feel the energy. Family, friends, alums, far and wide. Right?
Absolutely.
Watching today, excited for this day.
Yeah, we're real excited to have people joining us from all over the globe. You know, we've got residents graduating from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, from South and Central America, as well as right here in the United States. So people joining in all over the place. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We're going to have a few guests with us today. We'll be bouncing in and out throughout the morning. We're going to take a quick little break here. When we come back, we'll be back with our headmaster, John Glennon. He'll sit down with us for a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We're here with our headmaster, Mr. John Glennon. Thank you for joining us this morning, John.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Dak. Great to be here.
How do you feel on this day, this special day for our seniors on campus?
Oh, no better day. No better day for our seniors. Really, no better day for any of us here at Prep. Such a special day with, so many traditions. 1789 goes back a long time, but one of the traditions I love the best here on graduation day is the procession. The seniors, they'll start in the bowels of the Hanley Center. A lot of emotion down there, excitement, cheers. A little more rowdy than we saw last night at the baccalaureate mass, and they come up that stair out of the locker room one last time, make their way through the yard, pass by St. Ignatius, and they'll get to between the chapel and Boland Hall, where their faculty will set up one last gauntlet. The prep curriculum, obviously a rigorous one for them, but this last gauntlet more one of love, where the guys process through the faculty cheering them on. Yeah. It's an incredible moment.
Absolutely.
I was telling Joe this morning, I'm not graduating, but I always get the butterflies morning of graduation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it brings back a lot of memories. John, just off camera here, we got our new student center and dormitory going up. Maybe talk a little bit about what that's going to mean for Georgetown Prep and how it might be able to change what we do around here.
Absolutely. These guys in the class of 22 have a lot of things going for them, but good timing is not one. They're leaving here. We're proud of them, but they're leaving here the last class to be residents of Boland Hall. It's a Gunlock as their freshman year, but Boland there. The new residence hall, it's going to transform the residential experience. I've had the pleasure of being part of the Prep community since back in 2001. I saw the construction of the Hanley Center for Athletics and saw what that did for our athletic program. I witnessed the renovation of the old field house into the George Center and what that did for our academic program, our library, and now the excitement the anticipation of next fall, opening this new residence hall, giving the resident program the facilities. We've always had the program, we've always had the students, but the facilities that really they deserve, and it's exciting to think about.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate your time this morning. We're going to be right back after a quick break with science teacher Bonnie Bai. Thanks, John. Welcome back, everybody. We're joined now by Bonnie Bai, a member of our science department. Bonnie has been an honorary member of the resident program for the last 5 years as well, helping to translate for our families home in China, back at home in China. But Bonnie, out here, beautiful sunny day. Maybe tell us a little bit about what this graduation ceremony has come to mean to you over the last few years.
Yeah, graduation has always been special. I love the music, love seeing the people, loved the cicadas last year. But definitely in recent years, being able to have graduation at all have been just such a blessing. Being able to come here even on a hot, humid 90-degree day, my heart is full. My heart is warmer than the weather, and I'm just so happy to see how happy the boys are and the family.
Yeah. Well, after some years of teaching and now almost getting into the veteran ranks as a colleague, what are some of your favorite GP traditions?
Yeah, I think I just really love the chanting of the boys. They are so creative. Also, just the relationship between the students and the teachers and between the students. It's just a very special place in my heart. Every single day I feel very lucky to be on this beautiful campus and seeing the boys having fun in addition to all their learning. So,
Absolutely.
Just love it here.
Well, as we get ready to kick it to another commercial, you think you might want to say something at home to the families in China?
Yeah, 亲爱的家长朋友们好，您在家那边能看到这边的直播，我也很开心。最近这几年家长们都挺不容易的，但是您在国内把孩子送的这么老远送到美国，完了之后也来不到美国，然后孩子也一直在网上上课什么的。孩子今天能毕业，真的祝贺您，也祝贺孩子。
Well, Bonnie, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. We know you got to get back over there to get back in line in the procession with all the other faculty, so we'll get you out of here. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Dak.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Welcome back, everybody. We're joined now by our Director of Admissions, Mr. Brett Graham. Brett, thanks for
Welcome.
taking some time.
Thanks for coming over to the table.
Dad, good morning. Exciting morning.
It is an exciting morning, and being the guy who brings all of these guys into prep year after year, you see them when they're applying as 8th graders, when they're visiting as 7th graders, and now watching them walk across the stage in these white tuxedos. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the emotions there, or the growth that you've seen in these guys?
Yeah, it's certainly something special. It is a long haul. I mean, that interview and that 8th grade application process is the easy part for them and me, right? I mean, these guys are clearly guys we want here. At the end of the day, they choose us.
Right.
We're very grateful for that. And now look at them, 4.5 years later. We're extremely proud of these guys.
Great work. Not too long ago, you were in this position as a graduate of Georgetown Prep.
Not too long ago.
Does this bring back memories?
It certainly does. Class of 1992. I was a resident student myself, hailing from southern Indiana. I was 3rd generation on both sides of the family.
Wow.
On both sides. So this means something to me, watching these guys. It was raining back in 92, and we were in the old gym, which is now the library. And that's where we had our commencement ceremony. Remember it like yesterday. Families coming in and grandparents, and it was exciting.
And you guys had the white tuxedos then too, right?
White tuxedos, absolutely. Such a bold look.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. BOLD, man.
Came to find out last night that Father Sauter instituted the white
True.
tuxedos.
Wow, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a tradition that he started when he was headmaster, and we had him when I graduated in '96. We were actually
cool.
out here on a day much like today. It was hot, it was humid, and those tuxedos do not breathe well.
They don't. And on that note, I am out of here.
Well, thank
Class
you for your
of
time.
2022, congratulations.
Thanks for coming by, Brett.
We'll be back in just 1 second. Full 2 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We're joined now by Mr. Carlos Gonzalez Ortiz, class of 19. Carlos's brother Andres, a current resident student, getting ready to graduate today. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to join us. I know this was very last second, but thank you.
You remember those bells as well.
Of course. How can I forget?
How's it make you feel looking out here, seeing all these people, knowing that your brother's about to walk around the corner wearing that white tuxedo jacket?
It's honestly super exciting. I only have good memories of my time at prep, and seeing my brother graduate and you know, be also in the white tuxedo is something very, very exciting for me.
Excellent. We've been asking some of the guests that have come up, what's your favorite GP tradition?
I think one of the best moments was Kairos for me.
Excellent.
And doing that alongside my prep brothers. Shout out to Juan and Salva and Jose.
Yes.
That was an incredible experience and yeah, one of the most special moments for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to maybe take a minute? I know we have people watching back at home in Mexico. Maybe say something in Spanish to the families watching at home, welcoming them into this.
Yeah, of course. To the Mexican families and happy to be here y felicidades a todos los graduados y que ojalá vengan muchas más personas a representar acá en prep.
Well, as you can hear, we have the bells ringing, the boys are cheering, everything is getting ready to kick off here. Dak and I are going to be off screen for a little while. We'll be back to introduce some of the graduates to you as we move along, but thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Gracias.
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. We come together on this field in the shadow of the Chapel of Our Lady this morning to celebrate Georgetown Preparatory School's class of 2022. Before we begin, I want to recognize in a special way the over 50 members of the class of 2021 who have returned to campus this morning to see one of their brothers walk across this stage. As we all know, Connor Berry joined the prep community in August of 2017 alongside these men. This morning, they've traveled from far and near to come here and show their support to Connor as he receives his diploma as a proud member of the class of 2022. Welcome home, gentlemen. Today's tradition reaches back into the past. This is our 223rd commencement day here at John Carroll's Academy, the oldest Jesuit school in these United States. But this morning, for the next hour, our gaze focuses on these 120 young men seated before us. We look on them with gratitude and pride. We give thanks to their teachers, their coaches, their parents, their families, who have guided them to this point. And we imagine a bright future ahead, a world guided by their leadership, a people joined by their love, and a kingdom strengthened by their labor. The seeds have now been planted, the foundations laid. We look forward now to a future not our own, but theirs. And we ask the Lord's grace to watch over them for many years to come. So now, let us rise and honor our country as the prep singers perform our national anthem and remain standing for our opening prayer by the President of the Yard, Mr. Daniel Pacious.
Good morning. Let us begin in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, we thank you for all the blessings and opportunities you have provided us. Lord, most importantly, we thank you for the home you have given to us in Georgetown Prep. This chapter of our lives is now coming to an end. So we ask that the faith that has been ingrained in our hearts remains forever and continues to grow through every aspect of our lives. Lord, grant us with the wisdom and fortitude to cherish and build upon these everlasting bonds we have created at Georgetown Prep over the past 4 years. Lord, provide us with the knowledge and courage to take the values instilled in us here at Prep and carry them into college, our jobs, and our future families. Now, Lord, we ask that Georgetown Prep act as our foundation for all good to come. We ask that you lead us into the world as men of faith, men of commitment, men of compassion, men of conscience, men of competence, and most importantly, men for and with others. In knowing that we will do your will, pray for us. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please be seated. Alejandro Rojas hustles through the hallways of Georgetown Prep the way he dances down the soccer field. He's a firecracker of a student, ready to take off in 100 different directions. In class, he practically levitates out of his desk to answer a question. He has brought that same enthusiasm and inquisitive nature to the editorship of the Little Hoya, his presidency of the Black Student Association, and tutoring underclassmen as a member of the National Honor Society. Over the course of his 4 years at Prep, Alejandro has given much energy to service work, notably Prep for Change, which was recently recognized by Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. Our community has grown through his leadership. Alejandro will attend Yale University in the fall. Please welcome Alejandro Ignacio Rojas.
Father Van Dyke, Mr. Glennon, Dr. McGinnis, Dean Rodriguez, family and friends, and the class of 2022. Good morning. Thank you. My name is Alejandro Rojas, and I'm a graduating senior from Vienna, Virginia. I would first like to thank my fellow classmates for trusting me with the honor of presenting the commencement speech. You all clearly believe in me more than my elementary and middle school teachers did. They only knew me as the student who could not sit through a class without raising my hand 20 times or interrupting the class, whatever that meant. I can't wait for this YouTube recording of the graduation to come out so I can go back to Colin Run Elementary School and show them all. All jokes aside, this moment has been a dream of mine since I was a freshman. And I even had the opportunity to work on this speech with my freshman year English teacher, Mr. Williams. So everything really has come full circle. I want to enjoy this moment as long as possible, unfortunately for you guys. So before I go further, I would ask that we observe a brief moment of silence to soak in this moment and think of all the ways in which we are grateful for every moment that brought us to this day. When Dr. McGinnis called me and 4 of my classmates into his office to explain the parameters of our potential graduation speeches, I interrupted him with a raised hand and inquired, "What makes a successful graduation speech anyway?" Dr. McGinnis chuckled under his breath, probably because it was the 3rd question I had asked in 5 minutes. I must have reminded him of what it was like to have me as a student. Anyway, Dr. McGinnis responded, "Your objective is to craft a speech that not only reflects your experience at Prep, but that also accounts for your class's Prep experience as a whole. Think about how you would describe the class of 2022 and what you would say to them in their final moments at Prep." So here goes. Our Prep journey began in 2018, a date that seems so far from now. Whether you were predestined to come to Prep since birth, like Connor Crowley, or you didn't even know if you wanted to come to America for high school, all of us had that moment when we finally decided that Prep was the place for us. My moment was during Accepted Students Day in the George Cafe. At that time, I was too scared to initiate a conversation with anyone, and I was about 2 seconds away from walking back to the library banquet to tell my parents that public school would be a better financial option. But at that moment, then freshman Connor Berry and Aaron Milton walked up to me and introduced themselves. I do not remember what we talked about, but I remember thinking to myself, if people at Prep are like Connor and Aaron, I want to come here. I enrolled the next day. Whether our prep journey meant crossing the Potomac River or crossing oceans, we are here today shaped in part by our experience as prep students. The foundation of a Georgetown prep experience begins with freshman year. It is good to recall that when we hauled our overfilled backpacks to the third floor of Haas 4 years ago, we were all just confused freshmen trying to find our place in a sea of navy blazers. I came to this foreign state of mullets, lacrosse shorts, and Old Bay as a scrawny freshman with one friend, Keon Ambrose. I remember planning out my whole 4 years of high school. I wanted to be the president of every club I joined. I wanted to earn all A's in every class for every quarter of every year of school. And I wanted to commit to play soccer at an Ivy League school. Looking back at freshman year as a failed collegiate athlete who was certainly not a straight A student, I'm thankful for my freshman year because it taught me early on the most important lesson I learned at prep. My prep experience is greater than any of my personal achievements or successes. I would argue that everything we have done individually, we have not done alone. I remember those after-school study days during our first midterm season where Milad Zaranfar and Frank Zhu would sacrifice their gun-locked dorm for Western Civ study sessions. I remember those Friday football games when we freshmen would accept baptisms from Moses in a kiddie pool on the rugby field before triumphantly charging towards the football stands and packing our whole grade at the top of the bleachers. I remember that 45-minute stretch after school when we would grind out Latin vocab sheets or math homework together in the library while Mr. Nardella and Miss Lotus yelled at us to get off of our phones. I remember those lunches where someone would drop a plate and we would give them a standing ovation. Or those masses where we would compete to see who could sing "We Are Called" the loudest. Freshman year was great, and we started to bind ourselves into the brotherhood of Georgetown Prep that we had heard so much about. Sophomore year started off strong as well, but a little differently. After the summer of 2019, friend groups were a bit more established. Some people, mainly Aquino, grew a little taller. Sorry. Some people left. We had new classes and more responsibility, but the stakes weren't that big. As sophomores, we felt established at prep. We knew our way around the place. We had a full-blown homecoming, experienced the full grooviness of AP World with Mr. Poole, and for the time being, we were just regular old high schoolers. We entered a new decade, 2020, optimistic for what would come, but content with what we had. Sophomore year is kind of like a middle child. It's kind of just there in the middle of everything. Like, it's significant enough to deserve attention, but not really that significant. Sorry, middle children, if you're... And it would not have been until March 13th turned the world upside down. And then we weren't regular high schoolers. COVID physically pulled our community apart. It was hard for prep to be the same prep digitally in dozens of states and countries simultaneously. We finished sophomore year on Zoom, and without the opportunity to say goodbye to the class of 2020 in person. The summer droned by slowly yet quickly at the same time, and then suddenly we were upperclassmen. But it didn't feel that way. When we came back to prep a month into junior year, we were on a hybrid schedule, and prep felt different. In every class, the teachers had to learn how to open their Zoom rooms, share their screens, and refrain from expressing their frustration while being recorded. You can imagine what those frustrations were. Most difficult for them had to be teaching to a TV in the back of the room while simultaneously addressing their students sitting in the front of them. After each class, they even made sure we wiped our desks with sanitizing wipes. On the walls and sidewalks around campus, large stickers guided us along one-way paths to reduce potentially infectious groupings of students. We ate lunch in the cavernous field house with a strict 4 to a table rule to maintain social distance. For the classes that were virtual, in-person students sat at assigned tables in the library and in the Hanley and tried to focus while surrounded by other students, all of whom were in class. When the day finally ended, students in Asia who had been on Zoom since 8 p.m. at night could finally sign off at 3 o'clock in the morning. Clubs were not allowed to meet in person. Sports practices and games were suspended. It seemed that every day the news announced COVID cases reached record highs and that a potential vaccine might take several months to develop. And worst of all, Dr. Oaks' handwriting was even harder to read in person. I'm sorry. So many things felt like they were going wrong inside and outside of our community, and it felt overwhelming for the whole community. The seniors were merely trying to hold on to enjoy the pieces of Georgetown Prep that they had left. The underclassmen, not having had the experience of a full year at Prep, did not have that developed sense of what the Georgetown Prep community looked like without COVID-19 lingering over their heads. Naturally then, the responsibility of reviving the spirit of community and brotherhood fell into our hands. And not only did we, the class of 2022, take on this responsibility, but we took it on with pride. When extracurriculars and student groups dwindled in numbers because of COVID's restrictions on in-person meetings, we were the class that sent out the blast emails, created the Zooms, and held those weekly meetings when no one else wanted to. We were the class that accepted the vice president and president roles of the BSA and the investment club and the newspaper and Model UN because we understood the value of extracurriculars. When sports weren't able to practice and seasons were suspended due to COVID, we were the class with athletes like Sam Muir and Brock Rose, who showed up to every workout and then some, counting the days until they could return to the field and represent Georgetown Prep. When the Prep singers and the theater groups had to rehearse their new music via Zoom, Noel Bellardo, Ross Brown, and Ben Napolitano made sure to show up to every single Zoom recording so that their comeback performances would be flawless. Our actions extended to service as well. In the National Honor Society, our officers did everything in their power to provide tutoring services to students in need. It is not the overwhelming number of students in the NHS from the class of 2022 that is astounding, but the proportion of such students that would drop everything to help struggling honors biology students with a concept or to edit an English paper. Our service extended outside of the boundaries of Prep as well. Even during COVID, students in the Arupe Society organized food drives. Noah Alexander created a nonprofit to tutor underprivileged youth, and he invited his Prep friends at Prep to tag along. Shout out to Duffy Driscoll for winning Tutor of the Year. When I started a fundraiser in response to the rising unemployment rate and food shortage in DC's Ward 8, I was not surprised when Joe Raza, Trayvon Marshall, and other members of the class of 2022 helped me spread the word about the fundraiser and even joined in my efforts. We raised $28,000 in 10 days, and honestly, I could not have done any of it without the combined efforts of my fellow classmates. We, the class of 2022, set the example of what Georgetown Prep should look like to those juniors, sophomores, and freshmen that now succeed us. We could have given in to the pandemic, kept our heads in our computers and our phones, but we did not, because that is not who we are. But who are we? Instead of merely answering this question myself, I decided what other members of our class think about who we are. Nick Waits Cabrales, an honest man of few words, stated that we are different from all the other prep classes because we are simply more handsome. I mean, there's no argument there. Daniel Pacius, the face of our class and of our school, stated simply that the class of 2022 is an impressive but humble class. He appreciates that although we take what we do very seriously, we never take ourselves too seriously. Brennan Rao pointed out that our class is diverse in every aspect, and although he didn't recognize it at first, this diversity has allowed him to learn from the perspectives of others that he might not have known otherwise. Although he is not a member of the class of 2022, Dean Rod pointed out that there are very few cliques in our grade and that everyone can get along with everyone. He also noted that we are one of the most selfless classes he has ever seen, not only through our demonstrations of service, but also in the way he has seen us stick up for each other through thick and thin. Patrick Heffright underscored the camaraderie not only within the class of 2022, but also the close bonds between the class of 2022 and Prep's faculty and staff. Teachers involved with clubs like Frau McGinn with the NHS, or Miss Hepburn, who moderates the Little Hoya, spent countless hours helping students organize meetings, plan events, and even picking up donuts or pizza to help hold our student groups together through COVID and before COVID as well. Teachers who took on coaching roles, and there are so many of you, doubled their teaching hours by bringing the same commitment to their athletes as they do to their students. In my own life, Staff like Senora Rosa and Miss Sullivan would see me stressed out after a bad math test as they were cleaning the Haas building, and they would always stop to talk to me and make sure I was okay. Mr. Quentin Ross, a faculty member who works in dining services, would sneak me free food whenever I had to take the metro. He would sneak me free food whenever I had to take the metro to practice because he knew I hadn't eaten anything since fourth lunch. He even shared CDs of his go-go group, the Pepworth Band, with me because he knew how much I love go-go music. Our relationships with teachers who teach us every day, the dining staff who feed us, the custodians who keep our school clean, and the other members of the prep community who have supported us as students are not merely transactional. Our class has truly established and cherished these relationships over the past 4 years. I share these perspectives of our overall class character not to assume that each of us have had the same prep experience. Rather, I want to emphasize that after experiencing so many desolations and consolations together throughout our atypical experience of Georgetown Prep, we have developed strong attributes individually that, when observed collectively, say a lot about our character as a class. And let our character not be measured by college matriculation or by any awards or accolades that we have received or will receive today, but instead by our actions. Let it be measured by the number of students who sacrificed writing Common App essays or studying for an AP test to instead tutor underclassmen in the library. Let it be measured by our contributions to our sports teams and to our clubs. Let it be measured by the everyday interactions that demonstrate our love for one another. Let it be measured by the pride in the prep brothers under us, who will not only follow in our footsteps, but improve on the Georgetown Prep that we will leave for them. In the next hour or so, our chapter as Georgetown Prep students will close. We cannot go back and redo it. But what we can do is be proud for all that we have done for one another. We have given our strength and our talent to this community, and we truly should be proud of ourselves. Quick off-script moment. Forgot to thank my parents. Thank you, parents, for making me a somewhat decent human being. And also, I know he told me not to go off script, but thank you, Mr. Williams, for spending hours with me editing and trusting me with words that you haven't seen yet. So, thank you. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay. That's the only off-script stuff I'm gonna do. Oh. All right. Father Van Dyke reminded us at the senior breakfast that commencement does not mean an ending, but rather signifies a beginning. Class of 2022, it's time to leave this nurturing place and to become freshmen again, to learn and listen with open minds, to enter a new community eager to grow intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually, and with the same selflessness we have experienced at Prep, to bring our full selves to the service of another community, remembering always the lessons we learned at Georgetown Prep. So as we receive our diplomas and move on to the next chapters of our lives, celebrate your accomplishments with your loved ones. Take some pictures. Party hard, but not too hard. And never forget what we did here at Georgetown Prep. I feel truly blessed to have met all of you in the last 4 years, and I cannot wait to see the amazing things we do for the world. Thank you, and Rojas out.
Thank you, Alejandro. Now please welcome to the podium our academic dean, Dr. Eric McGinnis, for the presentation of diplomas.
Good morning. For the presentation of diplomas, names will be read in groups of 8. Applause is certainly appropriate as each group approaches the stage, but please hold your applause until the conclusion of the 8 names are read. When the last student receives his diploma, please cease further applause as the next group of names will be read. A professional photographer has been engaged to take a photograph of each student as he receives his diploma or his award. So we ask that you not take photographs beyond the area of the parents and the graduates, and we appreciate your cooperation. Toluwaniashe Ademola, Noah Javon Alexander, Kian Sharif Ambrose, Matthew Thomas Anderson, Thomas McCourt Aquino, Daniel Akwete Atai. Nathaniel Akuete Atai. William Flanagan Ayers.
Coming to the stage, totally little fine young man, hailing from Birmingham, England, will attend Warwick University. Next year, he was a standout member of the BSA, Varsity Soccer National Honor Society.
Next up, we have Noah Alexander coming up to receive his diploma. Noah's going to be making his way to the University of Wisconsin-Madison next year. He's from right down the street in Kensington, Maryland. Member of the Love in Action group, Get in the Game, basketball, lacrosse, rugby, cross country, and the business club.
There's Kian Ambrose. Didn't teach Kian. He'll be heading to the University of Florida next year, hailing from Great Falls, Virginia. Love in Action member and a member of the Georgetown Prep varsity soccer team.
Here comes Matthew Anderson. He's moving on to the University of Virginia next year. From Bethesda, Maryland. Played varsity lacrosse. Was on the football team, a member of the National Honor Society. Love in Action. Poker club, business club. He was a busy guy.
There's Thomas. Had the pleasure of teaching this young man all year in AP Comparative Politics. Be heading off to Boston College. Great golfer. I'll play with him sometime in June. This summer, cross country and ski club.
There's Daniel Atahi, and there's his father, Mr. Frank Atahi, the head of our security here at Georgetown Prep, coming up to hand his diploma to his son. Daniel's going to Catholic University next year. He was a member of our track team, cross country, Black Student Association.
His brother Nathaniel coming up. A lot of applause as his dad takes care of us every day, is on stage. Also attending Catholic University, Germantown.
There's Liam Ayers. Liam's from the Plains, Virginia. He's moving on to another Jesuit school, University of San Francisco. Liam's a swimmer, member of our community service club and photography club.
Quite popular this year.
Michael Richard Bailey. Noel Francis Bellardo. Connor Sias Berry. Akal Singh Bhutani. Levi Charles Bloom. Brandon Matthew Boyle. Hollis Brian Brewer IV. Andrew Joseph Breza.
Just coming from the other side of the stage, Michael is going to attend Lynn University. I had a sweatshirt on this past week around campus, hailing from North Bethesda, Maryland. Eagle Scout, first Eagle Scout graduate today, freshman football a few years ago, hip-hop club, and golf team.
There's Noel Bellardo, moving on to GW University right down the street next year. He's coming to us from Silver Spring. He was a member of the Prep Players, a couple of Hoyas, Love in Action, Multiverse Club, and the Spectrum Alliance.
Well, you can hear rousing applause for Connor Berry, actually standing ovation here for this young man who, just an inspiration to us all. Amazing talks with Connor this year. I always came away learning so much. He'll head to Georgia and attend Emory University from Burtonsville, Maryland. Wonderful story.
Really an inspiration to everyone. I think you can tell by the lasting applause for this young man just how much he means to this community. And as Mr. Glennon said a moment ago, over 50 members of what would have been his graduating class last year here to support him and to cheer him on. Truly inspirational young man. Coming to the stage now, we have Akal Bhutani. Akal is going to the University of Miami. Making his way to us from Rockville, Maryland. He's the president and the founder of the South Asian Student Association, a manager for our varsity basketball and football teams, member of the Solidarity Committee, plays tennis, a member of Love in Action as well.
Should be Levi Bloom. heading to Penn State next year from Upperville, Virginia, president of the German club, and one of the editors of the yearbook.
We've got Brandon Boyle making his way to the stage right now, heading off to Bellarmine University next year. Brandon's a member of the lacrosse team. He played soccer, member of Love in Action. He's coming to us from Laytonsville, Maryland.
Great to see so many Jesuit schools, colleges, where the boys will be attending. That should be Buddy Brewer, heading to Wake Forest University. Soccer, lacrosse, best buddies. I believe was a Kairos leader. Love in Action.
And here's Andrew Breza, moving right up the street to the University of Maryland next year. Andrew's played varsity football, a manager of the hockey team, sports
Ross
section editor
Edward
for the Little
Brown,
Hoya.
John Romweber Bukowski, William Matthew Burgess, John Bailey Butswinkus, Harrison Field Cerrone, Lucas Charles Chaconis, Stephen Clark Chapman, Thomas Andrew Costello.
Yes, Ross Brown, a big member of the theater program here at Georgetown Prep, will be heading to Georgetown University next year. Also a member of Cupola Hoyas, swim team, BSA, and the Classics Club.
Here's John Bukowski making his way up to get his diploma. Heading to TCU next year in Texas. He's a football player, wrestler, played rugby, member of the Best Buddies Club, and Love in Action.
Will Burgess seems to be a popular school these days. High Point University from Ashton, Maryland. Baseball, basketball, Best Buddies, and Challenger Baseball. Great program.
Here's John Bailey Butswinkus heading to NYU next year. Coming to us from Chevy Chase, Maryland. He's the president of the Financial Analysis Club, the GP Law Club. Played for the golf team, co-secretary of the French Club.
Harrison Cerrone heading to WNL, Washington and Lee University from Darnestown, Maryland. Swim and dive, NHS, the Little Hoya, and was a participant in the NOLA virtual immersion trip.
Lucas Chaconis making his way up, heading to Fairfield next year, another Jesuit school. Member of the ice hockey team, played some soccer, member of the Best Buddies Club, the Flathead service trip.
Steve Chapman heading to the ACC, Clemson University, Alexandria, Virginia. Participant in rugby, Grill Club, and football.
Tom Costello, our vice president this year, making his way to Michigan next year.
For you.
Tom plays baseball. He's a member of the Ski and Snowboard Club, the Pottery Club, Love in Action. His younger brother,
Connor
Will,
Nicholas
will be
Crowley,
sticking around next year.
J.
Excuse me,
Lowcraft Cudapa, Marc Antoine
Connor
Daubert,
Crowley.
Philippe Alexander Daubert, Clayton Todd Davis, Grant Thomas Della Rocca, Duffy Stephen Driscoll, Timothy McDonald Eldridge.
Here's Connor Crowley. I got to know him during senior field day. He's, speaking to me and my son. He'll be heading to Boston College from Bethesda, Maryland. Love in Action, cross-country newspaper, and the National Honor Society.
And here's Jay Kudapa, heading to Case Western Reserve University next year. He's a soccer player, member of the South Asian Students Association, and the Classics Club.
He's got a lot of fans in the crowd.
Absolutely.
There's Mark Dalbert. I can remember taking Mark to Argentina, Buenos Aires, when he was a freshman. Drexel University is where he's heading off to. Member of the jazz band Fencing and GP Unidos.
You are not seeing double. That is Mark's twin brother, Philippe, coming up right now, heading to Syracuse next year. Philippe also was a fencer, computer science club, and GP Unidos as well.
Very loyal GP family, the Dalberts and the Galans. Very happy for their graduation day. There's Clay Davis heading to Miami University. He's a member of the football team and lacrosse.
Grant Della Rocca making his way up now, heading to Union College next year. He's a soccer player and member of the Pottery Club.
Duffy Driscoll, UVA man, Wahoo Wah, hailing from McLean, Virginia, president of the Business Club, LIA, and the Sevilla immersion trip to Spain.
Here's Mac Eldridge, Mac was a resident student for a few years. He's heading to University of Virginia next year.
Stancliffe
Big lacrosse
Churchill
player,
Elmore
member of the business
III.
club.
Patrick James Emerson. Nicholas Thomas Ensign. Peter Warren Flannery. Tomas Emilio Galan. Brendan Patrick Galvin. Alexander John Gerbstadt Smolarczyk. Theodore Whitman Gherkin.
Should be Church Elmore heading to the stage. Boston College. DC resident, lacrosse team, National Honor Society, Chamber Orchestra, and Global Scholars. Hope that's a program that makes its way back.
Next up, we've got Patrick Emerson receiving his diploma. Patrick's heading down the street to Georgetown University. Football, golf, Love in Action, National Honor Society, the Fishing Club, newspaper, Neuroscience Club. He's a busy guy.
Nick Ensign heading off to Chicago Northwestern University. Remember the baseball team, freshman soccer, best buddies, Somos Amigos, and the Love in Action program.
Here comes Peter Flannery. One of the nicest guys on campus. Suffered a leg injury recently, hence the crutches you see him with there. Heading to Bowdoin College next year. He's a hockey player, lacrosse player. He's a member of the Year of Solidarity Committee, a rector on a Kairos retreat, and just an all-around good guy.
Congrats, Peter. Go NESCAC. Tomas Galan. Tomas as well. I took to Buenos Aires when he was a freshman. He's matured so much, a great member of our community. Heading to University of Texas at Austin. He's from David, Panama. President of the GP Unidos, Challenger Soccer, and a member of their soccer team.
Here's
Kairos 85.
Excuse me. Here's Brendan Galvin heading to Gettysburg next year. Football, lacrosse, Love in Action.
Alex Gerbstadt heading off to CIA, the Culinary Institute of America. We had many a talk about cooking and his passion for it. Pottery Club and the Video Gaming Society.
Here's Teddy Gherkin. Teddy's another Hoya heading back to Georgetown University. Teddy's a great baseball player.
Andres
fantastic
Gonzalez
pitcher,
Ortiz.
National Honor Society.
Patrick Kelly
Love in Action.
Heffright.
Yeah, we'll miss him
Nicholas
as our ace.
Avakian Heiss. Osarumese Adriel Ihama. Edward Damian Iona. Daniel Burkhart Jordan. Wei Chung Khan. Andreas Rodriguez Caragunas.
Andres Gonzalez Ortiz making his way, heading off to University of Pennsylvania. Go Quakers next year from Mexico City, Mexico.
His brother Carlos joined us earlier on the pre-show.
That's right. President of GP Unidos Chamber Orchestra.
We've got Patrick Heffright walking up on the stage. Patrick will be heading to Syracuse next year. He plays rugby and hockey, football, member of Love in Action, and a member of the Spanish Club.
Big crew here today, cheering him on. Nick Heiss up next. Got to know him as well during senior field day. Nice young man. Boston College, from New York City. Golf, National Honor Society, and the French Club.
Here's Isaru, heading to Washington and Lee next year. He's a football player, wrestler, rugby, member of the Black Student Association, track and field.
Eddie Iona, heading to Georgetown University next year from Germantown, Maryland. Great social studies, students, swim and dive, NHS, and Love in Action.
Here's Dan Jordan. Dan, another Jesuit university next year at Xavier. Football player, golfer, member of the Pottery Club.
There's Wilson Kahn heading off upstate New York, Cornell University from Guangzhou, China. Standout member of the International Relations Club, NHS, and the Mandarin Club.
And last in this group, we have Andreas Caragunas, heading to James Madison University next year. Tennis player, member of the Ping Pong Club.
Thomas Joseph Little. Daniel Liu. Aiden John Long. Luke Owen Lustig. Gregory Edward Lynett Jr. Charles Simmons Malloy. Stefan Andrew Marcel Jr. Trayvon Anthony Marshall.
Tommy Little heading to the stage. attending Wake Forest next year from Brookville, Maryland. Varsity baseball, freshman football. I love his quote, Joe, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Eric Taylor.
Here's Daniel Liu heading up to get his diploma. Fist bumps for Dr. McGinnis. Daniel is a member of the Speech and Debate Club, the String Ensemble, International Relations Club, the Math Team, the Chess Club.
There's Aiden Long, heading off to the University of Chicago, hailing from Bethesda, Maryland. Best buddies, rugby, business club, and football.
Luke Lustig making his way across the stage now. Another one of the graduates heading down to UVA. He's a football player, rugby player, member of the National Honor Society, the Veterans Club, and member of the track team.
Solid Hoyer. Here's Greg heading up to the stage, University of South Carolina. Washington, D.C. is where he's from. Football, rugby, Spanish club, and a member of LIA. Good job.
Charlie Malloy making his way across, heading down to Wake Forest University, our second one, I believe. Soccer player, member of the Classics Club, Chess Club, Mandarin Club, Kairos leader, the Los Angeles Virtual Immersion Trip.
Stefan Marcel, member of the residential program. Waiting a few minutes to get his accolades. Heading off to Shepherd University, cute little town in West Virginia, from Suitland, D.C., member of the BSA and varsity basketball.
Here's Trayvon Marshall heading up to the stage. Trayvon's going to be going to Stanford University in the fall. He's a varsity basketball player, varsity track player, National Honor Society member, member of Love and Action, Black Student Association, Prep
Malcolm
for Change,
Ross
and the Veterans
McAllister.
Club.
Patrick Joseph McCarthy. William Joseph McSorley V. Edwin Elijah Middlebrook. Sheldon Kwame Mills. Joseph Atia Morales. Samuel Brockett Muir. Benjamin John Mulford.
Malcolm McAllister heading to the stage. He's going to attend IE University in Madrid, Spain. Pretty unique experience from Washington, D.C. as well.
Next up, we have Patty McCarthy. He'll be heading down south to the University of Tennessee. Patty plays hockey and lacrosse, as well as football. He's a member of the Pottery Club.
Go Rocky Top. Will McSorley heading to the Bronx, New York City, Fordham University. From Lincoln, New Hampshire. Guys from New England here. Football, business club, and the International Relations Club. Also a member of the residential program.
Another resident student come to the stage now, Elijah Middlebrook. Elijah's a member of the International Relations Club, the Spectrum Club, Year of Solidarity Committee, and he's involved in the Environmental Club as well.
That's Sheldon. Excellent. Sheldon's heading off to Georgetown University from Potomac, Maryland. It's a wider circle. It's one of his big causes that he worked for during his time at Georgetown Prep.
Here's Joseph Morales. Joseph will be going to Gettysburg College next year. He's a soccer player, member of the BSA, the Spanish Club, the Mandarin Club, as well as the Chess Club.
There's Sam Muir, heading off to a service academy, U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Bethesda, Maryland, varsity football, varsity lacrosse, making for his service.
Ben Mulford, heading to Muhlenberg College next year. He's a soccer player, member of the Ski Club, South Asian Club. I love his quote here, nothing in life is impossible as long as you take that first step. Just what they're doing today.
Liam Michael Mulraney. Alexander Franco Munoz. Benjamin Craig Napolitano. Benjamin Bahram Navabi. Benjamin Michael Namelka. Matthew Joseph O'Connor, Jr. John Thomas O'Rourke, Jr. Jose Mario Ortega.
Liam Mulraney making his way to the stage will attend Georgetown University. Call those a double Hoya. It'll be a double Hoya. From Rockville, Maryland, ice hockey, quiz bowl, golf, and the math club. Good job.
Next up, we have Alex Munoz, member of the resident program. Alex will be heading west to Santa Clara University. The captain of the wrestling team this year, the president of the French Club, member of the Mandarin Club, a swimmer, Love and Action, as well as a Kairos leader.
There's Ben Napolitano, staying in Maryland, Loyola University, Maryland, hailing from Albany. There's his mom there, Karen Napolitano, our Director of Counseling Services, former English teacher. Spectrum Alliance, Prep Players, Cupola Hoya, and the German National Honor Society. Great job, Ben.
Another Ben Navabi, heading to the Virginia Polytechnic Institute. Football player, rugby player, the Veterans Club, the German Club.
I believe he's bilingual as well, speaks German. At home, there's Ben DeMelka from Washington, D.C., member of the chess club. Great job. Congratulations.
We do have students named something other than Ben here. Here's Matthew O'Connor, heading to UVA next year. Tennis player, cross-country runner.
John O'Rourke. It is Indiana University, Hoosiers, Potomac, Maryland, Ice Hockey, Lacrosse, Business Club, Poker Club, and the Ski Club.
Here's Jose Ortega, coming up to receive his diploma. Jose's heading to Duke University in the fall. Member of the indoor track team, Best Buddies Club, and the Spanish Club.
Daniel Bennett Pacius, William Clayton Parsons, Nicholas Lee Wright Payne, Casey McNeil Plank, Yufan Chin, William Ignatius Quinn, Joseph Luke Raza, Connor John Remington.
President of the Yard, heading across the stage, Daniel Pacius, heading to the University of Michigan, go blue, McLean, Virginia, rugby, LIA, cross country, manager of the hockey team, theater. He did it all while he was here.
Here's Will Parsons, shaking hands with Father Van Dyke and Mr. Glennon. Will's heading to Wake Forest in the fall, plays soccer and tennis, associate editor of the Little Hoya, and a member of the National Honor Society.
Should be Nick Payne. There he is. University of Mississippi, going SEC here. Bethesda, Maryland, baseball, Patriot Point Service, football, and prep singers.
Here's Casey Plank getting his diploma now. Casey heading to the University of Maryland in the fall. Football player, rugby player. Took part in the New Orleans service trip, Kairos leader, Love and Action leader.
There's Wilson, member of our residential program, heading to California, University of California, Davis from Shanghai, China, string ensemble, math league, and the debate club.
Will Quinn receiving his diploma. Will heading to Boston College in the fall. The football and lacrosse player, Love and Action, National Honor Society, and the Prep Singers.
Congrats, Will. There's Joe Raza, heading to Duke University next year from Bethesda, Maryland, track and field, National Honor Society, Challenger Soccer, and Love and Action.
Here's Connor Remington coming up for his diploma. Connor's heading to Stevenson University. Lacrosse player and soccer player, member of the Booster Club.
Ryan Christopher Rodriguez, Alejandro Ignacio Rojas, Ronald Rosa Benicio, Brock Richard Rose, Brennan Foster Rao, Tyler Anthony Schlosser, Samuel Reynolds Schulman, Leonard Gisbert Schweitzer.
Great group of guys coming up here. Ryan Rodriguez coming across the stage, getting his diploma from his dad, Dean of Students, baseball coach. Chris Rodriguez, that's a pretty scene. Heading to Franklin and Marshall next year. North Bethesda, Maryland, soccer, baseball, Kairos, and a Veterans Club leader.
Here's Alejandro Rojas again, our commencement speaker, heading off to Yale up north next year. He's president of the Black Student Association, editor of the Little Hoya, soccer, track, founder of the president of Prep for Change. A very impressive young man, as we saw earlier during his speech.
There's Ronald Rosa Benicio heading off to Union College in New York, hailing from Guinea-Bissau. Also has a brother here and one more on the way. As a freshman next year, varsity soccer, varsity track. Great job, Ronald.
Brock Rose is next up. Brock is heading to Xavier University in the fall. Great baseball player and a football player on our freshman football team.
There's Brennan Rao heading off to University of Miami, but he told me the other day he's going to spend his first semester, Joe, in Rome. How lucky is that?
Interesting.
Frederick, Maryland, varsity football, freshman football, varsity rugby, and global scholars.
Here's Tyler Schlosser heading to LSU next year. Hope he enjoys the warm weather here today because that's what he's in for next year. Football, hockey, lacrosse.
There's Sam. I had the fortune of teaching Sam this year in AP Government, heading off to Georgetown University, varsity golf, cross country, Spanish club, LIA, and NHS.
Here's Leonard Schweitzer, another member of our resident program. Leonard's coming to us from Frankfurt, Germany, and he's heading to the University of
Jacob
Amsterdam
Thomas
next year.
Sclafani.
Excellent.
Abrion Bryce Sewell. Felipe Sebastian Singer. Caleb Alexander Soares. Jackson Hugh McMahon Squire. Philip Joseph Stasko Jr. Taylor Wingfield Stewart. William James Syringa.
Jake Scalfani, Wake Forest University, Bethesda, Maryland, varsity baseball, business club, and booster club. Great job, Jake.
Coming to the stage now, we have Bryce Sewell. Bryce is a member of our resident program. He's heading to Randolph-Macon College in the fall. He's a basketball player, a football player, a track runner, and a member of the Black Student Association. Congratulations.
Singer making his way to the stage, heading off to Colorado College. He's from Bethesda. And another touching scene as his mom makes his way to the stage. One of our colleagues, Antonetta Singer, member of the language department, cross-country, indoor track, outdoor track, newspaper cartoonist. It's a hidden passion of his. Yearbook club member. Great job, Philippe.
Fantastic cartoonist. Caleb Soares coming to the stage, getting a big round of applause. Caleb's heading up to Philadelphia next year to attend Temple University. He comes to us from Raleigh, North Carolina. He's a fencer and a member of the German club.
Jack Squire, another SEC attendee, University of South Carolina, Chevy Chase, Maryland football, love in action, rugby, and a member of the booster club.
There's Philip Stasko coming up now. Philip will be heading to the University of Tennessee next year. He's a baseball player, played a little bit of basketball when he was younger, the Magic Club, whatever that is, Music Appreciation Club, Ski Club, Business Club.
The old white and orange is heading to. There's Taylor Stewart, also heading to Rocky Top, Knoxville, Tennessee, Bethesda, football, hockey, golf, another touching moment with his mom, another one of our colleagues. Catherine Stewart, giving him his diploma. Great job, Taylor.
Here's Will Syringa. Will's going to be heading up to New Jersey next year to Princeton. Will's cross-country runner, a member of the fencing club, the German National Honor Society, the Hippocratic
John
Society,
Paul Sweeney.
and several
James
others.
Sebastian Zott. Anthony Justin Thomas. Carter Thomas Tinsley. Blake Scott Trilling. Andrew Joseph Trebus. Samuel John Trebus. Dimitri Robert Vasilou.
John Sweeney coming across stage, Tulane University, Go Big Wave, North Carolina, resident, baseball, French club, and the International Relations Club.
Next up, we have James Sott. James is heading to the University of Maryland next year. Really impressive young man. He cleaned up at the senior awards breakfast the other morning. He runs track and field, played basketball, member of the Hippocratic Society, the Little Hoya, Love in Action. The list goes on.
There's A.J. Thomas heading to W&L, Washington and Lee from Gaithersburg, Maryland, member of the BSA, varsity basketball, and gave us a treat at an assembly this year with his voice.
Here's Carter Tinsley. Carter's heading to the University of South Carolina next year. Plays football and wrestled. Was all IAC in both sports.
Blake Trilling, next up, heading to Texas, Baylor University. First one I've seen today from Boyd's, Maryland. Basketball, business club, and NHS. Great job.
Here's Andrew Tribus, heading to the other USC, University of Southern California next year. Played football and rugby, as well as being a member of the poker club.
Sam making his way, heading to Dickinson College, from Kensington, Maryland, football, rugby, investment club, grow club, Spanish, and the business club. It's pretty involved.
Dimitri Vasilou heading to the stage, heading to Villanova University next year. He's a tennis player, member of the chess club, took part in several musicals in the theater department, ran cross country, member of the French club, and apparently quite a dancer.
Nicholas Robert Waits Cabrales, Timothy Patrick Walsh, Alex Wan, Chen Shu Wong, Shenyang Wong, Isaiah Jamal West, Bradley McIntosh Whiteway, Chandler Michael Wimmer.
There's Nick Waits Cabrales coming up, University of Arizona. Should be fun out there. Bethesda, Maryland, rugby, poker player, freshman basketball manager when he was there, booster club, and the LIA program.
Here's Tim Walsh, heading to Cornell University next year. President of the Pottery Club, played varsity soccer, varsity track, JV golf, National Honor Society, and Love in Action.
Alex Wan getting his diploma on stage, heading to George Washington University, hailing from Vancouver, Canada. Standout member of our International Relations Club, Mandarin Club, swim and dive, and the German Club.
There's Chen Shu Alan Wang, heading to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign next year. Coming to us from Hangzhou, China. Swimmer, Mandarin Club.
There's Constantine heading off to Pittsburgh, Carnegie Mellon University, hailing from Beijing, China, Mandarin Club football, math league, and he won a slew of awards at the baccalaureate mass.
Here's Isaiah West taken to the stage now. Isaiah is the other member of this class heading to a service academy. He'll be going to West Point next year. Football player, basketball freshman year, ran track.
There's Bradley Whiteway heading off to another service academy, U.S. Coast Guard Academy, varsity tennis club, Spanish club, and track and field team.
Chandler Wimmer, the last of this group, heading to Duke next year. Member of the engineering club, the German club, a varsity fencer.
Joshua
member of the National Honor
Sunjae
Society.
Wolfson, Yangguang Shu, Xiang Shu, Colin Michael Yavinsky, Kieran Dooley Yateman, Milad Zaranfar, Alan Maximilian Zhang, Ining Zhu.
Josh Wolfson heading off to Dartmouth College, Potomac, Maryland, varsity team captain, NHS, and the math club. Great job. Did see him getting up pretty early in the morning for those swim practices.
Yangwan Jimmy Shu. Jimmy's a member of our resident program, from Hangzhou, China. Based on the response from his peers, you can tell one of the more popular guys in this class.
We'll miss him. Good job, Jimmy. Here's Leon heading to the University of Massachusetts from Beijing, China. JV basketball. And nice little shot. I remember playing basketball with him a few times. And the jazz band. The legendary, his Kobe Bryant quote.
Colin Yavinsky receiving his diploma now, heading to Syracuse. He's a hockey player, member of the Little Hoya newspaper, the Anglers Club, and a Kairos leader.
Is Kieran. I had the fortune of teaching his brother as well, heading off to the University of Michigan. Go Blue, LIA, lacrosse team, sports booster, and pretty good AP government student.
Here's Milad Zaranfar. He spent some time in the resident program with us from Great Falls, Virginia. He's heading to Lehigh University next year. He's a soccer player and swimmer, a member of the Little Hoya.
Alan Zhang coming up, heading to College Park, not too far away, University of Maryland. Go Terps. Potomac, Maryland, string ensemble, NHS, and the golf team.
Last but certainly not least, Yining Frank Zhu, heading to the University of Rochester next year. From Shanghai, China, president of the National Honor Society, president of the Math League, the Computer Science Club, and the list goes on. You can give it over to Frank.
Reverend Father President, as headmaster of Georgetown Preparatory School, and in accordance with the decisions of the faculty, I attest that those receiving their diplomas have fulfilled the requirements of graduation and merit their certificates attesting thereto.
Members of the class of 2022, by the authority invested in me by the Board of Trustees of Georgetown Preparatory School, I accept the recommendation of the headmaster and faculty and officially confer upon you your diploma with all the rights, privileges, and perquisites thereto pertaining, and declare you sons of Georgetown Preparatory School, both now and forevermore.
A number of academic awards were conferred upon the students at a breakfast with faculty and staff on Thursday morning. These awards recognize students for achievements and excellence in particular disciplines. These students and their awards are listed in your commencement program. The Campus Ministry Award. In his relationships with both peers and faculty, the recipient of the Campus Ministry Award reveals a remarkable trust that he is loved unconditionally by God. And participating in this abundant love which overflows, he reflects that love to others, laboring in service and acts of generosity. This year's recipient of the Campus Ministry Award is Tomas Emilio Galan. The Christian Service Award. The Fitzgerald Christian Service Medal was established in 1983 to honor the memory of James and Eileen Fitzgerald, parents of Patrick J. Fitzgerald, prep class of 1984. This year's recipient has demonstrated the humility in learning from those he has come to know and serve. His charitable and generous spirit embodies the spirit of Magus, which ever seeks the greater good. And so this year's Fitzgerald Christian Service Medal is awarded to Thomas Andrew Costello. The Athletic Directors Award. The Athletic Directors Award is presented annually to the multi-sport student athlete whose actions on and off the field of competition have inspired the entire prep community. With faith and with great character, the recipient has embraced the opportunities to grow in all aspects of his life. Always working to be his very best, he has inspired his community to live the true meaning of the word team. Today, we honor Peter Warren Flannery with this distinction. The Resident Life Medal. The senior resident students are essential to a successful residential program at Georgetown Prep. They provide a unique sense of leadership. Each member of the resident senior class of 2022 has led through his own individual gifts. For his ceaseless positivity and happy disposition, for his exceptional ability to manage the rigors of life away from home and to compassionately assist his fellow residents in doing the same, for his genuine and heartfelt care and concern for the resident community as a whole, and for his modeling of Jesuit ideals within the residential program, this year's Resident Life Medal is awarded to Alexander Franco Munoz. The Dean of Students Award. The Dean of Students Award recognizes the graduate that commands the respect of his peers, teachers, and the administrators at Georgetown Prep. The recipient of this award has consistently demonstrated a strong sense of character, high ideals, and has played a significant role in the extracurricular, academic, and spiritual life of the student body. This year's Dean of Students Award is conferred upon Osaramese Adriel Ihama. The Georgetown Prep Medal. The Georgetown Prep Medal, established in 1970, formally recognizes those students who, by reason of their significant involvement in extracurricular activities and their positive service to the school, are worthy of special commendation. For their tenacious spirit and generosity, the Prep Medal is awarded to the following students: Timothy Patrick Walsh. Ining Zhu. Akal Singh Bhutani. Benjamin Craig Napolitano. William James Syringa. And Toluwaniashe Ademola. The Jesuit Schools Network Award. The Jesuit Schools Network Award was established to honor the senior who most closely resembles the ideal graduate of a Jesuit high school, a well-rounded person who is intellectually competent, open to growth, religious, loving, and committed to doing justice in generous service to the people of God. This year's award is presented to Alejandro Ignacio Rojas. The Hillenbrand Medal. The Hillenbrand Medal, awarded annually to the president of the Yard, is a tribute to the memory of Richard Daniel Hillenbrand, who was president of the Yard in 1962. His example of service, it is hoped, will continue to inspire his successors in the office of the president of the Yard. For his outstanding service this year and his fine example for future student leaders, the recipient is Daniel Bennett Pacious. The Cardinals Award for Catholic Citizenship. Cardinal Wilton D. Gregory, in the name of the Archdiocese of Washington, provides a plaque for that student who has used his scholastic talent well, but more especially for the student who has exhibited Christian awareness in using his talents in the service of others. This year's award is presented to Trayvon Anthony Marshall. I'd like to invite Mr. James Fagan to the stage to present the next medal. James G. Fagan Medal. The James G. Fagan Medal, founded in 1987, is presented to the graduate who exemplifies discipline, maturity of Christian character, the sacrifice of self-interest for the good of others, and academic achievement. This year's recipient of the Fagan Medal is Casey McNeil Plank. The Alumni Memorial Medal. First awarded in 1949 in commemoration of deceased alumni, the Alumni Memorial Medal is annually awarded in recognition of sportsmanship, competitive spirit, and other virtues of the Christian gentleman as displayed in the field of athletic endeavor during the junior and senior years. This year's recipient is Samuel Brockett Muir. The Headmaster's Award. It is the privilege of the headmaster to conserve, endorse, and advance the mission of Georgetown Prep in the course of its daily operations. Ignatius Loyola's first desire was to help souls, to be there for the other. And this desire defines and directs what we strive to do at Prep. In the classroom, in the lab, in the theater, on the playing field, in the chapel. Educate our students to be men for and with others. In his position as headmaster, Mr. Glennon has the opportunity to know in different and various capacities the young men sitting here today. They are intelligent, talented, humorous, and industrious. They are young men of good character, and they are young men with great potential. But there is one among them who by his scholarship, his compassion, his generosity, his sense of fair play, his moral leadership, and especially who through his faith and through his commitment to justice embodies what we strive to instill in our students. The Headmaster's Award is presented to James Sebastian Zott. The Wills Roberts Medal. The Wills Roberts Medal was founded by members of the class of 1945 in memory of their classmates, Captain James Washington Wills, Jr., United States Air Force, and Lieutenant John Arthur Roberts, United States Navy. This medal is presented annually to the graduate who has manifested the greatest scholastic improvement during his last 3 years at Prep, and who has participated in extracurricular activities and athletics with self-sacrifice and loyalty. This year's recipient is Joseph Atia Morales. The Williams Medal. Richard Francis Williams ranked first in the graduating class of 1962, and after his premature death in 1966, a medal was established in his memory to be awarded annually to the student with the highest academic average in his senior year. This year's recipient is Wei Chung Khan. The Jeffrey L. Jones Medal. The Jeffrey L. Jones Medal, established in 2016, celebrates the many contributions of Headmaster Jeffrey L. Jones over the course of his 20 years service to Georgetown Prep. The recipient of this medal best exemplifies the qualities that marked Mr. Jones's distinguished career: generosity, strength, vision, and a passionate commitment to Georgetown Prep. As is true of Mr. Jones, the recipient has left an indelible mark on America's oldest Catholic and Jesuit school. We proudly present the Jeffrey L. Jones Medal to Connor Sias Berry. The Hamilton Medal. The Hamilton Medal, founded by Dr. George E. Hamilton, is awarded to that member of the senior class who has most distinguished himself by scholastic success and who, by his interest and helpfulness in school activities, has contributed in a marked degree to the life of the students. We now proudly present this oldest prep medal to its 97th recipient, Joseph Luke Raza.
We now invite Father Van Dyke for some concluding remarks.
Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think on these things. Keep on doing what you have learned and received and heard and seen. My brothers, you and I started together 4 years ago on Monday, the 27th of September, 2018. And it seems like a long time ago, but it seems like just yesterday. Time flies when you're having a pandemic. And I got to thinking, what is it that I have learned? What is it that I've received? What is it that I've heard? What is it that I've seen? Men of competence, conscience, men of courage, compassion, men of faith, good faith, men for and with others. I got to remembering a couple of key moments. I remember hearing from Dr. Oakes, right at the beginning of my time here, about Captain Ed Cummings of the class of '42. He just graduated from the Naval Academy in 1942. He went to war, and his boat was shot out from underneath him. The entire officer class was killed, and he had to assume the care of his men, now being the ranking officer, which he did, helping some of them who could not swim to safety in the Mediterranean Sea. I remember the words of Mr. Rodriguez early on in our time here when our community was being severely criticized in the press and the media. He said, "We do not fight. We do not fight, we serve." It takes great courage to serve. I think about our faculty and our staff and the great pivot of 2020 and having all of a sudden to learn again how to teach, but in an entirely different medium, how to be there for and with you in Zoom of all things. And I sat with one of our oldest faculty members through that time and watched Father David Sauter, who has taught forever, learn how to teach again. It takes courage. I think about a guy who dropped by to see me this past summer, Francisco Aguirre Sacasa of the class of 1962. He's from Nicaragua. And we talked, and he talked about how bad things are under the Ortega regime, and that a phony election was being run, and he said that he was going home to be involved in the political process, knowing full well that he might be arrested, he might even be killed. He is still under arrest and ailing there in prison. It takes courage. But his classmates contacted me and said, he learned it here. He learned it here. To go home and to be there for and with his people, for and with his nation. Think about Kevin Dyer of the class of 2007, who called me one day a year ago and asked that on the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe that we have a Mass of Thanksgiving. It had been 10 years since he had his accident that left him a paraplegic. But there were so many graces, he said, so many graces that he had received, so much love that he had received from his classmates, his friends, his students at Mater Dei, from his family. He has never given up the hope of walking again. Courage. I think about Connor Berry and his commitment to returning to our community. I think about visiting him in the hospital. I think about his mom and that courage. I think about Tim Strachan's talk at the communion breakfast this year and his starting to say, why me? And then saying, no, 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 no. There's a grace here. There's a grace here, and God has asked me to exercise that grace. Not to ask why me, but what can I do with this opportunity? I think about you and the way that you returned here last year, knowing that it was going to be your responsibility, your challenge to rebuild a sense of community here at Georgetown Prep after the long, 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 long months away. And that you did it, and you were committed to that. And I thank Daniel Pacius and Tom Costello especially, but I thank all of you because they were representing what you most wanted to do, what you wanted to do and to give to Georgetown Prep, how you wanted to be here for and with each other and for and with your younger brothers. I think about some of you who I know carry each day unseen burdens, but come every day anyway to be here for and with your brothers and for and with the future that sits in front of you. I think maybe what I have seen is a little bit, no, make that a lot of courage. You know, Ignatius, 501 year and 1 day ago, standing on those walls at Pamplona, that was bravado. Bravado is not courage. Courage was the next day, and the next day after that, and the next day after that, and the next day after that. The courage to now let God be God, to let God be their God for and with him. That it's AMDG, not AMD me. The courage to be hopeful in a world that needs it. What is courage? It is to have heart and to give that heart to others. Ignatius, even before the Society of Jesus was quite approved in 1540, received the challenge of sending his best and dearest friend, his brother, Francis Xavier, on a mission to the Indies, and he knew he would probably never see him again. But he wrote to him and said, "Go, go, my brother, and set the world on fire." So now, class of 2022, my brothers, go. Get out of here. Set the world on fire. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you have given.
We now invite Reverend David Sauter from the Society of Jesus for our closing blessing.
Eternal Father, when Jesus stood on the threshold of his public ministry, the veil of heaven parted for a moment to reveal you. In all your fatherly pride. "This is my beloved Son," you said, "in whom I am well pleased." Today we ask your blessing on these beloved sons, yours and ours, in whom you must also surely be well pleased. They have glorified your name by developing 100-fold the talents you have given them. They have served you by learning to serve all of your children, down to the least, and they have done your will in loving one another. Be at their side each step of their life's journey. Walk with them into the places and experiences where we cannot follow. Be their protection in danger and their encouragement in hardship. Be with them in times of loneliness and celebrate with them in times of joy. Grace them with the knowledge that deep in their hearts, they will always carry a large supply of love, yours and ours. And so it is in your name that we bless them. Go forth in peace, have courage, hold on to what is good, return no one evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the suffering, honor all men and women, rejoice in the power of the Holy Spirit. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit come upon you and remain with you forever. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Please be seated. We're almost there. Just a few things left. First, a bit of gratitude. A lot of people put a lot of work into making today possible, so I'd like to take a minute to personally thank a few of them. Chris Lapp, Dean Rodriguez, Dean McGinnis, Michelle Strachan, Catherine Vaz, Joe Patterson, Leonard Burton, and all the members of the dining services team. To Julie French, to Cho, Mick, Travis, and all the buildings and ground staff. To Mark Kingora, Norman Sweeney, Joaquin Hernandez, Vale, and Quentin Wright for providing this beautiful setting today. And especially to Joaquin Hernandez, who will be retiring next week from our ground staff after 15 years of service here at Prep. To my good friend and colleague, Ms. Denise Hitt, thanks for what you've done to make today happen, and thanks for caring more about getting it right than anyone I know. To Olivia Bell, Sean Geiser, and the team at Gigs for producing today's event as a live stream broadcast, thank you. To Dak Torado and Joe Harkins, our announcers today, to help make this morning's live stream process a personal one. Thanks, Dak. Thanks, Joe. To our faculty and staff, both those here today and those tuning in because they couldn't join us, these educators, relying on their strong relationships with you, helped us all arrive at this moment. True men and women for others. I couldn't be more proud to work alongside them. Can we let them know what we all think? Gentlemen, for almost 2 decades, for every waking moment, your parents have been dedicated to your well-being. These past 4 years, they've sacrificed their time and their treasure to provide you with the best education available anywhere on the planet. If you're like me, in your heart, you know how much they mean to you, but sometimes you might forget in your everyday actions and words to make that truth known. So members of the class of 2022, I want to give you a minute now to clear up any misconceptions and show them how important they truly are to you. And finally, to the members of the class of 2022, to each of you, on behalf of Father Van Dyke, the faculty and staff of Georgetown Prep, know that you have our admiration and respect and undying love. Gentlemen, we are proud of you. We love you. You've made the most of this opportunity we call Georgetown Prep. Continue to do that over the course of your lifetime. And remember, each day give thanks for your blessings and return your burdens to God. Stay humble, stay hungry. It's an honor to work with you over the past 4 years, and it's a privilege to have prepared this event for you. We're going to see what the class of 2022 is made of. Great things await. Oya Saxa. Go Prep. Ladies and gentlemen, parents and friends of the graduates, members of the faculty administration, gentlemen of the graduating class, Georgetown Preparatory School in its 233rd year, the 103rd at Garrett Park, now concludes the ceremonies of this, the 223rd Commencement Day.
fitting send-off for this class. It's always a bittersweet day on graduation, as we have gotten to know these guys so well over the last 4 years, and now we watch them walk off and head on to the next chapter.
It's always a sad day as we say goodbye to the class of 2022, and they head off to their next chapter of their life, but also a joyous day. And Father, you spoke of graces to host with you again this year, class of 2021 coming back to celebrate Connor. Almost the Mount Rushmore of prep legends in that first row.
Absolutely.
Coach Fagan, Bob Barry, 50th year.
Absolutely.
Father Sauter, Mary Elise Gribben, who's retiring after 28 years.
Absolutely.
Beautiful day.
It was. Very fitting send-off, I think. Thank you to all of you for taking the time to be with us today. Dak and I have enjoyed doing this for the last few years, and we will be here again next year for you. So thank you all, wherever you may be around the world. Have a wonderful day.
Hoya Saxa.